Hey everybody, it's Suryal for Revolution Ecchs. This is Web-Minisode 4. And tonight we're talking about the new Star Trek film. Star Trek has been redefined for a generation. It's an alternate universe, a new take, if you will. Just saw it tonight. Awesome. Awesome all around. It slowed down a little bit occasionally, but it was just only to so you could catch your breath, basically. Good pacing, good pacing. I got to talk about some of the weird little hangups I have as a fan, right? Um, when I was growing up, we had Star Trek encyclopedias or tech manuals, and the Enterprise was built on the Mars dry dock. Here it's built in Iowa. But this can all be, and also the transporters, instead of using little glitter spinning around, is using little lights spinning around. I can forgive this. This is all fine. And because I do, the movie's awesome. Let me tell you about it. This is going to be a very big spoiler podcast, so if I haven't put it up down here, then it's a spoiler podcast, and you should know. The movie begins with the father of Kirk and his final voyage. Kirk saves his beloved, and on the day of his son's birth, he perishes. Now, those of us who know the Star Trek mythology, we know that Kirk's father was proud of him because he grew up and he joined Starfleet just like his old man. This is not a Kirk whose old man grew up, that watched him grow up. So Kirk's this rambunctious kid, and I gotta say, by the end of the film, he's got Kirk's swagger down. I mean, in the last scene, you just feel that you're almost looking at the same thing. Like, you're looking at Kirk. You're thinking this man could go on. Well, the backstory behind this movie is that a group of Romulans from the future, probably after Voyager comes back, if not a little bit before, but definitely after Voyager comes back, in my opinion, Romulus is destroyed, and that sucks. Spock was trying to save it, and he just wasn't in time. Sometimes you're just not in time to save the world that you need to save. And I understand Spock. He was trying to reunify his people. I mean, not the Remans. Fuck the Remans. But the Romulans can be saved. Or not. The captain of the Romulan ship, a Romulan mining vessel, huge, badass ship. Looks like something out of Babylon 5. It's so badass. But, Nero is what he calls himself, which is a little bit odd. Because if you go into the whole Star Trek is Judeo-Christian mythology, plus a little bit of Greco-Roman thrown in. It's all Western mythology thrown in. You get the whole thing about Nero being the Emperor 616. I don't know. Destruction of the Jews. I mean, the Vulcans. Sammy Davis Jr., also a Vulcan. Just maybe you didn't know. But Spock has to go back and try to fix things. Only Spock arrives about 25 years too late. So, meanwhile, these crazy Romulans are shooting up the galaxy with their high-tech ship, killing Kirk's dad. Kirk's got to grow up without a father. He gets into a fight with a bunch of Starfleet kids over some crap or another. And what happens? Christopher Pike, Captain Pike from the original Star Trek, has to show up, teach him some manners, and say, hey, you got a future ahead of you. Don't fuck it up. And he doesn't. Kirk delivers. Chris Pine delivers. The guy who played Christopher Pike, great. I don't remember much Christopher Pike. I've only seen him in technically one episode, if you Glass Menagerie. But he's also in the cage, which is the same episode, only with Kirk and the rest of the crew. So a lot of people in Star Trek mythology, Star Trek readers or Star Trek viewers know is that Kirk passed the Kobayashi Maru test, which is an unpassable test administered by Spock. I'm not going to say how he did it. He explained in one of the movies how he did it, but here we see how he does it, and it's pretty cool. It's funny. There's a lot of comic moments in the film, a lot of good comic moments. It's got that lightheartedness, but still speaks to the underlying tones of humanity, as all good sci-fi does. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with Leonard Nimoy's work. I didn't like his hair. I didn't like Leonard Nimoy's hair. It was too old Spock. Not enough Spock we knew. But I guess in Next Gen he kind of had that hair again. I don't remember. He's kind of getting old. But Spock in this, it's mainly a Spock and Kirk film. Everyone else is just along for the ride, but everyone else has to play a big part. Particularly Chekhov, for some reason. Chekhov's got all the major lines, which I understand, because he works Khan. I mean, there's Khan, and there's Nav. So, besides that, you got Science Console, Engineering Console, and Communication Station. So Khan gets everything, gets all the readings. So Chekhov's used to relay a lot of information. These Romulans going after Vulcan. They're gonna make Spock watch what happens when you're too late. They're gonna make him pay for the way their world ended when he tried to save them and he was not in time. He will not be in time this time either. But Spock does meet up with Kirk. Old Spock meets up with new Kirk. And new Kirk's like, what? How? ¿Qué? ¿Cómo? It's just too much to imagine. I mean, you meet the captain that you know, spoiler, again, spoilers all this podcast. You meet the captain of the Enterprise, and suddenly he's Ambassador Spock, and you're the captain, and he says he's your best friend, that you, him, and McCoy used to have drinking contests. Whatever, dude. Okay, that wasn't actually in it, but I can see that happening. And you know Scotty's the one bartending. But Kirk makes his way to a station on this desolate planet where he's stranded with Spock, and he meets Scotty and Scotty's awesome alien pal, who doesn't say much. Kind of wish he did. He's kind of Muppet-like, but Scotty perfects some of his Scottiness in this. He comes into his own. With a little help from old Spock. If you remember Star Trek 4, then you're really gonna have a lot of fun with this scene. So Kirk and Scotty are on the Enterprise, and the Enterprise in this movie is very stylized. Doesn't exactly look like the old one. Doesn't exactly look like the one from the new syndicated version, the new spaceship, the new effects, the new space shots. But it's cool. It's very cool. It looks very Star Trek-y. And you understand why there are certain things different, because it's an alternate universe. And, well, Kirk knows what's best, because he learns from his mistakes. Learns from the mistakes of others. And Spock makes a friend. And that's what you really take away from this picture. A group of people who are just good at their job and great as friends. That's all I got for today, man.